Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Impossible Creatures Replay channel, or perhaps, as we should call it, the Yagami Fan Club. I'm joined by Davo,
Hello.
and we're going to do a showcase of more Yagami games today because the man has been on an absolute tear. We've been talking about him as a rising star, but I think the star has well and truly risen by this point. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yes, I think so. Yagami has been on the grind. At this point, his light is well focused,
That's
and
right.
so
I think the edge of his blade is basically invisible at this point. So honed
yes,
has he become.
absolutely.
And
He
to
may be new, but he's no less dangerous for it.
he insists on bringing that up every time we play. He says, "Look, go easy on me. I'm new," but I think he's proven that's no longer the
Yes.
case. We actually have a really interesting showcase today. I haven't seen any of these games. I understand you might have seen the last one, correct?
I believe I've seen the last one, maybe the second to last one, but the first couple definitely I have not seen.
Okay, fantastic. And the reason these games are exciting is because these are Yagami versus the old legend, Avichai, who has been famous for many, many years. He won, I think, the first ever Impossible Creatures global tournament many, many, many years ago, and he's always been an extremely good player. He's a little bit off the books these days, doesn't play quite so much, but he kind of stirs from his slumber for a challenger
If we
like
can take out
Yagami.
all enemy labs, this
Yes,
island is
yes,
ours for
absolutely.
the taking.
Has told me a few times of the opportunities he's been able to play Avichai, uh,
Hmm.
and uh, and how much he's learned from that. I've been the victim of one of Avi's strats. Actually, Yagami copied his fencing strategy from Avichai. At least the original idea came from one of his matches versus Avi. So
That's really
we'll see if that
interesting.
happens.
What kind of fencing strategy are we talking about here?
Fencing off both expos, so you end up penned up in your base.
Hmm.
Yagami did that to me for a few games in a row. Which I eventually beat, and he, but uh, he apparently got that from a game against Avi.
That's interesting. Is that a vacation specific strategy? This map is, of course, vacation.
Well, the first time he did it, it was on vacation, and I think that's where it came from. But
Yeah,
I have had to deal with it on Senate as well. We'll see if Yagami gets the fence up. He does.
huge.
Is a very clutch henchman
That was
right there.
fantastic. And I mean, this is, as you said, the fence strat that Yagami was using excellent work stopping the center from bringing these foundations down. That fence strat definitely came from this map because this is Avichai's map. He's really like he's the man who's practiced one punch a million times, and that punch is vacation, very much so. And
Yes.
for him to get penned in like this on his favorite map is pretty brazen of Yagami.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see what he does about it. He has built some rods pretty early on, and building not cheetah lobsters.
Yeah,
These are
specifically not.
these are these are units that may have once been cheetah lobsters, but they are no longer that.
They've evolved.
They are poison frog zebras. They're very good level two, cheap level two range.
Oh yeah, and very very classic. Like these are since version 1.0 of this game, these zebra frogs in some permutation or other have been inextricable from the meta. And suddenly we have an attack on Yagami, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Avi has been able to mobilize several troops pretty quickly.
yeah, finding the path that was not fenced, and going through there. But Yagami with a slower build, he's going to have more economy, and his early level two units here, the zebra snails, are extremely durable. So uh, it will be a little tough for Aoi to break through that economic advantage.
That said, Avi's kind of drip feeding of these zebra frogs is really great. He's just continuing to reinforce. And I was worried for Yagami there for a while because he didn't have much, but it seems like he's been able to kind of judge the situation pretty well. He's building up a few zebras of his own now.
Yes, I think all of Yagami's level two units in this army are zebra based.
And why wouldn't
The
they
zebra
be?
snail, zebra fighter of some sort, I think. Those are symbols. And yeah, I like how Avi put a sound beam up pretty far forward, and he's scouted the other expo as well, so he knows Yagami is in his base at this point.
Exactly right. And the use of these henchmen is also pretty cool. I like that. Henchmen are a pretty good stand-in melee unit at level 2, with Avi finally bringing down one of those sound beams. But in an extremely huge move, Yagami swam out to sea and took this generator, which
Yeah,
is actually enormous in a game like this. It's really the
yeah.
only difference economically between the two players.
The double guys is really extra helpful because Yagami has a workshop, and I don't believe Avi has one, so Avi can't convert
Wow, so true. Absolutely
electricity.
right.
But he doesn't have the geysers to do it anyway. But if he wanted to, he couldn't. And that will make a big difference, as neither player has got the expo.
And I think at this point, I mean, Avi must be feeling extremely strong because he looks dominant, but
Yeah,
I think what Yagami's doing is kind of playing dead a little bit here. He knows that he can take these hits for a long time because he has the
yeah,
economy, and that's
absolutely. And Avi is spending, I think, too long focusing on the buildings here and the units, and not doing any damage to Yagami's economy really, apart from some lost mining time.
yeah,
So it's
you're absolutely right there.
it is going to be a challenge for him. So Yagami has been able to mine. He's got the geysers. Um, if Yagami can hit level 3, I think it's going to be probably game over for Avi. But we'll see what happens.
It's
Surprised Yagami
interesting.
hasn't built a second chamber. However,
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's. I don't know how much of this is planned from Yagami, but maybe only having the one chamber is kind of helping to lull Avi into a false sense of security. He's only just now realizing that he can't crack this nut at this point.
yeah, but he doesn't really have anything else to do with those zebra frogs. He
True.
just kind of has to back up, play around his sound beam because Yagami hasn't taken anything else on the map. So if he can't break through, then those units don't do anything.
And it looks like he's coming up here to kind of secure this expo, which is good because Avi has to start making some moves economically here.
And now Yagami is starting to build a level 2 artillery, which should be really helpful against those frogs.
How long has Yagami had this level to I would have thought this would come in handy a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. But I think that's where not having a second chamber really changes things because he couldn't build melee and artillery at the same time, and just trickling out one artillery wasn't going to do anything against those frogs. So Avi is bringing in the attack from the left-hand side,
This is
which will be
huge. The commitment to the level 2 attack is absolutely enormous. And four
yeah,
henchmen from Yagami trying to go for the expo but getting blocked.
yeah. Noticing very quickly that those henchmen would not survive attempting to take that expo. But yeah, at this point, Avi really needs the electricity that he hasn't had because with all this pressure, he could have been level 3 quite a while ago.
That's
Uh,
right, he's about 50% behind Yagami to level 3.
and he's kept Yagami trickling units and basically dying without losing too many of his own. So it's going to be a problem for him. But he does have the expo, so if he can defend that and keep Yagami in his base, he's still really in this game.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to come down to what Yagami does with this extra 50% of level 3 that he's got here. Gigantic pram. Well,
Oh yes.
I think we know what's coming now.
Yeah, yeah. So this is why uh, I don't think these level 2s are going to do anything now that Yagami's level 3. Those gigantic prams are extremely strong.
They're so
And
good, and the charge is just so amazing.
yeah, the charge, the regen, they have a lot of damage. They cost a lot less because they don't have horns like the original version of this that I saw.
Yes, that's very
And
true.
and Avi coming out with the level 3 meat and lion eels, are those lion eels?
Yeah,
I think they
Lineals.
are.
And we
So
saw Mutt use these against Yagami the other day to little
yes.
effect.
Yeah, well, I ran some calculations on the side because I was interested, and the gigantic ram is really good against meat. It is basically basically not worth it to build level 3 meat if you're trying to beat the melee matchup. So you really need a lot of range um, to counter these rims, and I just don't think Avi has the economy for it at this point.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely right. And these guys have the added advantage of you can't really trickle range out against them. And the game's over. Avi blew lab. That's amazing. You can't trickle range against them. You need to have a big clump of range before you engage, because otherwise that charge attack will just shred you. You cannot
Yeah,
fight them.
absolutely, absolutely. And charge attack has the advantage of being able to go around units and go around corners, which is I think part of what makes it so strong.
That's right. Actually, that's distinct from leap attack.
Lead attack,
That's
yes,
yeah.
it's the longer range as well. So it's a slight difference, but it's an important one.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why a lot of players, for anyone watching at home, that's why a lot of players will typically prefer to bring charge over leap when they have the option.
Yes, which is basically from level 3 onwards,
Yes,
because
exactly.
uh, unfortunately, charge is not available at level 2.
Imagine if it was. Make it level
That
one, boys.
that would be extremely broken. I'm imagining a level 2 Scorpion charge attack.
What I really like about this is that this gigantic pram seems to be specifically really good against older players and older playstyles like Mutt and Avi. Because these players tend to rely very often at level 3. Oh, by the way, Avi's sneaking out of his base, seeing this fence coming. Cool.
Yeah, yeah, the adaptation. You can see Avi's skill in
Oh,
a lot of
finish
these
it!
moments.
Finish it! Oh, Yagami, come on, man!
I don't know what happened. Oh, he must have misclicked. He probably tried to micro the fence and misclicked the fence to go beyond.
Yes, you
Or
must
maybe
be
he
right.
wants to scout. We'll see.
that henchman that Avi so intelligently moved outside of the fence is now trapped anyway.
Yes, it's it's unfortunate. But Avi building an early chamber. So I wonder if he's rushing level 2.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, he
he is.
certainly is.
So Yagami with the slower build, which has its advantages with the speed of building henchmen these days. I
Yeah,
believe that's the factor that Sniper really talked about. Was why he prefers the slower level 2 generally. So
yeah.
we'll see if Abby can muster enough strength to push through. Looks like this time he's going north instead of the south route, which we'll see if that works out better.
Oh, and yeah, Yagami's just fencing off. Okay, that's fair enough. He knows that there's probably an attack coming. Hopefully, he finds a way to get this geyser anyway, because that was so
Yeah,
clutch for him last game.
yeah, he can swim around the back. Uh,
Absolutely.
I don't know that Avi even took his base geyser, so uh, taking any geysers at all from Yagami is already going to give him an advantage.
Does Avi know about guys?
I don't know. It's quite surprising. Uh, it's something. It's a consistent theme throughout this series. Is he doesn't take as many geysers as he could.
The man's playing
Um,
with leg weights. He's
yes,
limiting himself.
yes,
Oh, look,
and
Yagami managed to get outside of his base, so he's claiming that
yeah,
guy's early. Good stuff. And
yes. So
but
he's gonna have 2 geysers, including 1 upgrade. So the electricity disparity is going to be enormous.
the man is flowing. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like Avi managed to make the most of his quick level 2, because the
Yeah,
level, like the biomass kind of favors Yagami despite the slow level 2.
yeah, absolutely. Avi went level 2 early, and then instead of being really aggressive with it, decided to expand behind it. So it's almost like he used level 2 as a bluff to try and get Yagami to commit resources and
Mm.
then expand instead. Um, we'll see what happens. I think Avi is starting to push the fence at Yagami's base as well at
Good
this
call.
point,
Oh,
but not in there yet.
but Yagami's going 3,
Yes.
and his
Uh,
attack, he should be able to attack and defend at the same time here.
yeah, I think that was a good call going 3. He's got all the hench he needs. He's got a bunch of upgrades available, and his units are pushing out the expo. I think. No, no, you just lied. I think was that the end? Not quite.
No, no, sorry, my stream might be crapping out.
No, it was just briefly. So yeah, now we see early hench heal from Yagami on a on some creatures with regen as well. I think which is extra cheeky.
And you can see he's using this. He's using this hench heal strategy. Yeah, he stopped building the workshop to heal. That's really cool. And these
Yes.
level twos are just not going to do anything here.
Yes, a research clinic is quite beefy, so having them auto attacking the research clinic is very unfortunate. Yagami losing his artillery unit there though is actually quite helpful for him. Quite helpful for Avi's defense since can force the range into the sound beam.
Yeah, and
And
now indeed he has. Although these henchmen repairing will do a pretty good job, and the giant prams are here. Like they're here and
yeah,
they're
that's level
upgraded
3. They're
already.
upgraded already.
Oh my
Yep.
god.
Yes, this is the Yagami power spike button I've been talking about recently. We see it in action. The Yeah, I don't know. The base attack from Avi has been cleaned up, and now it's going to be a challenge for him. He doesn't have a water geyser. He doesn't have his base geyser. He's doesn't have the electricity. So
Yeah, where's the eco? And I bet Avi watching these games will have the exact same thought. Like the clear difference is the economy.
yeah,
And I mean,
absolutely.
Yagami's micro has been pretty good as well. I love the way he's putting structures in the way of the enemy units.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Yagami is you can see what Yagami is learning from Avi as well. I think in this game you can see where he's he's played against Avi before, and you can see how he's learned to micro and improve that aspect of his play as well.
And I mean, Avichai seeing the writing on the wall, blowing lab again.
Yeah, I don't think he could have started level 3. Like I don't think he'd even started it. So
No, and I wonder if he's
so
going
at
to
this point,
keep going all in at level 2, or if he's going to
If we can take
realize that the
um,
defender's advantage is just too strong. Oh, we've got a flip. We've got Yagami at the bottom and Avi at
oh,
the top. Okay, cool.
that must have been the issue.
Of course.
Obviously.
North
Yeah,
by
I don't
imbalance.
understand why Avi throws down 2 lightning rods at the start.
Mm. Yeah, it doesn't
Or
make
is
sense in terms of build order, I don't think. I mean,
it's
it's.
surely that means some idle lap time.
I think it does, yeah, I think it does. I think we will see some idle lab time after this hench, perhaps. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
brief.
there were a couple of brief moments of lap time, which is it's a bit strange because you can you can you can get 2 rods built in a similar time with without throwing them down immediately. But what do I know?
It might just be like it. That might be kind of a slightly older meta strategy, from when the days of when it was basically just cheetah scorps 24/7. So maybe it was
Perhaps.
like extremely critical to get the level 2 as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think that is a common theme.
Hello.
You see Yagami is lower build, getting the lightning rod up now. The second one.
Good
Mm.
scouting from Obi. I love to see that.
Yeah, and there's the fence.
And the purpose of that fence for people at home is so that you cannot build a sound beam here, and it's supposed to. It normally signifies that you're about to face a level 2 rush of some
Yes.
description, but it's very often used as a bluff.
Yes, and in this case, it is not as immediately threatening as it sometimes is, but the chamber's still coming out. The level 2's coming fairly rapidly, and more cheetah lobsters.
Oh yeah, these are these are some of the tallest lobsters I've ever seen.
Oh yes,
Freakish.
with the longest tongues.
Yeah.
But Avi choosing to try and build up a mass, but Yagami scouting it, so he sees what's up.
These war
And
camels
Yagami has
are
level 2. He's building his units as well. So briefly saw the creature chamber in his base.
yes, and
He's taking his
here comes
geyser.
the base guys. No base guys are from Avi. He's just leveling up too fast. Like that's all it is.
Yeah, yeah, he's leveling up too fast, and he doesn't eco enough once he has the level 2 and he has a massive units. He doesn't. I think he just doesn't recognize the importance of electricity in this patch compared to perhaps previous versions of the game, which I have not played. But
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We haven't really changed that. We've actually made geysers worse recently. We've made them more fragile, so it's more of a risk to take them. It may just be rust from Avi, or maybe he's underestimating Yagami.
perhaps. I think this is his first few games in a while, but
That's right, yeah.
this is a good level 2 attack though.
Yeah, this
It's
is looking
enough of a
beautiful.
mass, good mix of units.
Ready, boss.
And this is getting into territory that I've already seen, but I mean at this point, Avi is in a really good position.
And these war camels soaking up a lot of damage. Only 5 DPS themselves. It
Yeah.
seems like they might have been better served hanging back a little bit to guard these frogs because he's lost them. He's lost all the meat shields to little effect.
Yeah, well, the two sound beams in Yagami's base are quite helpful.
Oh yeah.
But Avi, with some pretty good micro there, aggroing the zebra and getting out, and power crawling himself, so should put a lot of pressure on Yagami's base as he builds up another wave.
Yeah, and Yagami, I mean, the man is the exact polar opposite. He is so hungry for the juice. He has stolen
Yes.
the geysers across the map.
Yeah, and it's a really good play from Yagami there. Sort of taking what's available on the map, while defending as well. And he doesn't have a lot of units because he only has the one chamber, but he does have 4 sound beams going up and some artillery. So
It's kind of just general confusion. This base fight is a bit of a mess. There's not too much micro coming out from either
No.
team, I would say. There's a bit of work on these frogs here from Avichai, which is good.
yeah, absolutely. It's Yagami at this point is microing henchmen to try and keep his sound beams up and make more as they go down.
And I mean, it works so well. He's extended this tower's lifespan by like 30 seconds so far just by repairing it.
Yeah, he's lost 1 sound beam and built 2 or 3 in the time of this defense. So
And he's almost
now
three.
he's building a research clinic which will help narrow the choke point going into his base as well
Beautiful.
as allow him to research things.
Beautiful, yeah.
So it's a really good placement. Protects the 2 rods around his workshop pretty well. And at this point Avi doesn't have the units to keep pushing in. So
This is the exact moment Avichai begins to sweat because he knows what's coming.
yeah. It's actually taking a while to come out, so I think he must know that Yagami didn't have a water chamber up immediately.
Yeah, true.
But he's still producing level 2, so I'm not sure how this will go at this point. It's a little uncertain because Yagami is sort of hung back and defended. He has the economic advantage, but he hasn't yet built up a huge mass. So there's still room for Avi to do something.
Oh, gorgeous. It's the Boom King.
Oh yes.
These sound booms are doomed. I love these bombardier alligators.
Yeah, they are really quite fantastic for the price. They do a lot, and it's really good in this scenario too because those towers, while they're not too much of a problem for the gigantic prams, they're still an inconvenience, and they slow you down when if Avi had continued to mass range, could have posed a significant problem for Yagami if he wanted to push out of his base.
Yeah, and I think Yagami at this stage is happy to take it easy because he knows he has the geysers. Like, the longer this game goes on, the better it gets for Yagami. He's got this expo, he's got the majority of the geysers, and I mean, Avi's only just now building his 4th rod. I don't really understand. I mean, he must just be banking.
He's just now built his 4th rod and first geyser of the series. So it's a big moment.
Yeah, huge. He is adapting. But I think he must just be really, really counting on this level 2 push. Really putting everything he's got into that.
Absolutely. And to be fair, he almost carried it through that time.
Absolutely, yeah. It was really close. But it's just so hard to come up against. I think on this map specifically, level 2 rush is hard because you've got so much resources in your base. You can make sound beams here so easily, and you've got all your henchmen here.
The choke points are pretty severe in this if you're trying to access the lab.
Oh, especially coming from this direction, yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got the defender has the height advantage as well. Range units do get a damage increase when fighting from on top of a hill.
Yeah, that is also a big deal. And we see the gigantic prams chewing on meat once again.
Chewing on meat, and it was mentioned by someone, I forget who, it might have been Logan mentioned that these guys actually don't have charge. He took charge off the hippopotamus which is an
Yes.
unusual move. I would normally leave that on for a meat, but I mean the reduced cost is not insubstantial.
Yeah, charge can get expensive, and he already has deflect on those, so
True enough. True enough.
deflection and immunity, so it will soak up damage, but not enough to keep those henchmen alive, that's for sure.
That's the game. That's the game. I mean,
That is
Yagami
the
just
game.
rolled in those lion eels and Avi just blew, and I would have as well.
Yeah, at that point the game was up. So but I mean that was the closest game yet. And I think you can see I mean sort of blowing off some of the rust
Yes.
in that game.
Yeah, I feel like if this was like a 50 game series, I do think Avichai would just keep getting better and better.
Yeah, certainly I would agree. You can really see flashes of what made him so good and why he won those early tournaments and everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing that I would really like to see more from Avi is small armies, I guess. I mean, a lot of the people who are really good at this game don't care so much for the army building side of things, right? It's more about the gameplay, and that's totally understandable. But you've got to have the cards up your sleeve to adapt to things like Yagami. Yagami's been playing the same tricks this whole game, and it doesn't look like Avichai has anything in the tank to really deal with these prams.
Yeah, absolutely. At level 3, I just like at level 3 it becomes an army difference and not so much a skill issue, although both players are quite skilled. um, so we'll see what happens in this game. Yagami's scouting early, and I don't know whether he'll take the geyser, try and fence, or what, but
He's
the
going
early
early to
scout
have a look.
quite helpful.
Yeah, he's going to go have a peek. We've got the 2 rods up from Avi again.
Yeah.
It would absolutely make my day. I would be tickled pink to see a geyser come up. That's really all I want.
Yeah, that would be a bit bold.
Well, we're going 2 already. Avi is
Yeah.
on the way to 2, playing his natural game.
Yagami won't have the elect for it yet with his build order, but he won't be too far behind. And Avi not being as aggressive this time. He didn't drop both rods at the start, and I think he's intentionally trying to play a slower game.
And the hench fight here is good. Avi's going to take this one.
Yeah,
They're doing almost identical timed damage.
that is the
I think they might have actually killed each other if this second henchman hasn't arrived. That is
Yeah.
possible.
that is quite
Ready,
possible.
boss?
We're gonna see Avi chase off this henchman and potentially take an early water geyser.
Nah.
Yeah, I guess not. Who needs water geysers?
He's going for the coal instead.
And Yagami taking his base geyser, taking his water geyser.
Yeah. Yeah, Yagami's playing like a carbon copy game of his first
Yeah.
view.
Absolutely. His early game is quite on rails, but this time Avi not investing any resources into creatures yet and taking the expo, which is a good
Yes.
move for him.
Yes, this is exactly what we've been talking about. He's
Yes.
really specking into energy early on. Great stuff.
Yeah. And the taking the early expo also helps him since he built such an early level 2.
Ready, boss.
Getting the expansion early helps recoup some of that coal that he lost from having fewer henchmen while going up to level 2. So far is I give Avi a much better chance in this game.
Yeah, this is looking
long run.
This is looking really dynamic. Dynamic is maybe the wrong word given the amount of fencing that's going on, but it's looking very
Yeah.
positive for Avi. Definitely. If he gets this water geyser, he is well on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a pretty interesting defensive strategy. I think here we see the fencing that Yagami learned from, with fences on both expos, fences at Avi's base, but not holding too much issues for these zebra spiders as they take out the fence and start to pop.
Another important difference, I think, is Yagami's extremely fast, extremely aggressive research regimen. He hits advanced structures, gets that clinic up, gets
Yeah.
grid instantly. Grid is
Yes.
huge, especially when you're rocking 2 geysers.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yagami also really likes to put down an early genetic amplifier
Yes.
and upgrade the health of his level 2s. Very common for Yagami to do that.
But
which he can do without researching advanced structures. But
he's
as we can see,
really fortifying here on the east, but he's left himself a weak spot north, and it looks like that's where Avi's going to come from.
and his creature chambers are on the wrong side of those amplifiers.
Very much so. Yeah, that's a bit of a blunder. He's got one here that's safe, but he can use
got
these to
one.
address.
But if
Well, no, he doesn't.
Avi pushes in from the north, he will have no production in his base.
I don't know why he did that. I guess he's just fully committing to fighting out here. That's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it was a misclick, but also
Accidentally
he's
pressed
attacking his
delete
own
twice.
unit.
Oh no! Oh no!
I think it was his own unit.
Gigantic Pram, you absolute traitor!
Oh, no.
Oh.
Yagami is fencing this this northern area, but I don't think he suspects the level of commitment that Avi has in the north.
Yeah, all these sound beams are here. That's pretty cool. It's going to be hard for Yagami to attack here. The defense is strong.
Defense is very strong, absolutely.
Clearly, the more defensive build from Avichai is a pretty good call. This Pram is charging the long way around, extremely slowly.
Yes. We're gonna say that was the traitor, and now he's smarter than the others, though.
That's right. Yeah.
And importantly, Avi has taken his water geyser this game. We didn't see it happen, but he does have it, and so their economies are very even at this point. And Yagami has no way of returning to his base.
Exactly right. He's burned the ships behind him. He's staying.
But,
and I mean, this is so good for Avi. Look at the minimap. It's so red.
It is very red, and all of Yagami's lab hench are just building sound beams. He has no resources coming from his Safe Expo or from his lab coal. So all he has is the southeastern expansion.
And target selection is great from these guys as well. He's not going for the buildings this time. He's going for the henchmen.
Yeah, the henchmen that are repairing. He has a few hitting the buildings, but not too many. And Yagami forced to mine while his sound beams die. But his attack in Avi's base is doing some damage, but there are a lot of sound beams.
Avi has upgraded sound beams, absolutely enormous.
Yeah, and I think he might even invest the sonic boom into those Prams at some point. So at this point though, Yagami is trickling units from those two chambers, and that are outside his base, That's a problem, since he has all of these units that could help save his base or push into Avi, but they're just in a staging area at the moment.
I mean, that artillery has the length and hovering as well. He can use those to take out here, but it looks like he's just going hard. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that he has a chance of beating Avi before Avi destroys him.
Yeah, at this point you wouldn't think so with those lineups, but I mean the meat doesn't have a lot of melee damage, so and potentially with a lot of determination, Yagami can hold in his base.
There's a lot of Prams, and these are exactly the right units to crack this particular nut.
Absolutely, yeah. The long range artillery is just going to give Yagami an open path into Avi's base.
This was huge. That was Avi's water chamber. Oh, sorry, there's another water chamber right here.
He built that one pretty early on. I think that might have been his first one, actually. And there we see finally blowing his genetic amplifiers. Something he could have done minutes ago.
That's
and now here comes the cavalry. Someone play Ride of the Valkyries, because it's about to get ugly.
But that charge was so loopy. They went all the way around to here.
Yes, the power of charge coming in to get the sound beams in the corner, and Yagami now using hench heal to definitely keep these Prams alive.
Double regen.
He has eight hench guarding these units, just in the bottom right alone, and so the cavalry really.
Sonic boom.
I'm gonna say big sonic boom, but
we need one
not
more.
Enough follow-up damage.
Oh, we need one more boom. These guys are regenerating so fast.
Yeah, well, the hench heal as well is helping with that. And,
it's monstrous.
Yeah. What Avi really needs is to have follow-up from the lion eels there. but I just don't think he has. Well, he has enough with his up there with his sound beams, but Yagami doesn't need to push there anymore. He's cleared out his base, apart from that one chamber, um, which could be used, but anything that trickles out of that chamber Avi has in the Yagami space is just going to get instantly killed. So
Well,
it's functionally out of the game.
it's worth looking. He's getting Avi. Sorry, not Avi. Yagami is currently getting integrity. I wonder if Avi's got grid.
Yeah,
That
that could be a big difference. If he doesn't have grid, then there's just nothing left for him to do at this point. But
I really wish we had some resource overlays so that we could see. That would be absolutely interesting.
yeah, can't believe that they didn't put spectator features in replays in this game built in 2003.
Dude, have you seen?
Come on.
Have you seen what the replays used to look like before we fixed them? There used to be a playback watermark that showed up over the middle of the screen whenever you watched a replay.
Genius.
Like the word
Genius.
playback. Why?
Oh, that is esports ready game. That's how you do it.
That's right. And these lion eels versus this artillery is pretty interesting. They have a really bad matchup, but they're doing some pretty good work.
Yeah, the micro there was a bit unfortunate for those couple of alligator bombardiers, but there were more in the base that knew to use their range attack and not their melee.
Oh my goodness. Yagami has perhaps realized that we haven't seen any level 3 artillery for Avichai, so it's just the tower time.
Yeah, Avichai is definitely focused heavily on meat and lion eels, and it's just not going to break through anymore.
But that said, Yagami just threw away his entire artillery platoon here. This has been a rough game for Yagami. I wonder if he's a little
the
fatigued.
micro there, a bit unfortunate, but I mean, it's pretty amazing that meat can't even survive to reach melee range of any of those towers.
That's right, yeah. No charge on them. I mean, it wouldn't matter if they did have charge. They'd be dead in seconds anyway. These towers
the charge would let them do one attack, probably.
Yeah.
So Avichai now trying to take out the Expo. But again, a lot of meat into these gigantic prams, and the hench heel helping out. I think Yagami must have 60 henchmen alive at this point, or something, something like that, because he has more than enough.
5 mining.
He has enough to saturate his mining lines and heal with at least 10 henchmen. So,
and it looks like Avi's going to hit 4 first. There he is.
That's true.
This is anyone's game.
Whether he has a trump card at level 4. Yagami's base is pretty much uncrackable at this point, and
artillery.
He has one artillery solo bringing down the water chamber, which I believe gets left to its own devices for the entire rest of the game. The one valiant effort of a level 3 artillery against the water chamber.
What's Avi got it for? He's still making these 2 units.
I don't know.
Does he have anything at level 4? I don't know the status of his army.
I mean, he must, but it's surprising that he's not gone for anything. And in the meantime, the classic hippo porks are coming out.
The hippo porks.
Which, despite deflect, actually match up fairly well into the meat, since the shield bugs have such high defense.
Yeah, that's right.
Perforate is going to do a lot of work. And with the hench heal, the deflect doesn't do too much.
That's true, yes. But it is worth noting that I believe because they have such high defense, that means the deflected damage is quite high.
That is true. The deflection damage does scale with the damage you do to the enemy unit.
Yes.
Although I don't know that it would have the piercing effect. So
I think it just does. It does exactly the damage to HP that it would have done to the enemy unit to your unit, I think.
That would make sense. Based on what I've seen from this game's code, that's what I would expect.
Yeah, agreed. The micro here a bit rough. No hurting for these poor hippos. They just want.
No, they're not close enough to each other. I think that's a melee battle.
But Avi seems completely stalled here. I don't think he knows what to do.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know what I'd recommend for him really depends on his level 4.
I would recommend
But,
that he makes some level 4s, but he doesn't have any. He's now making.
yeah, maybe.
He's now
Maybe he just
making
went
the
level
level
4 to
psych him out, maybe. But like he needed these artillery units so long ago.
absolutely. Yeah, those artillery units would have done so much in the earlier engagement. But these hippoporks, they're beefy, but the towers are doing quite a bit. And if you're gonna produce level 3s, level 3 deflect meat is not a bad thing to use against massed hippoporks. That was really nice.
Oh yeah,
3 towers dying to the same volley. That is
feels good. Feels good.
that is what you like to see.
Pop, pop, pop. Oh, there's so many towers.
There are so many towers.
I just.
And
I mean.
Yagami is continuing to use gigantic prams as his level 4.
We just saw a sonic
as
boom that
his
hit
level 4 melee.
nothing. Nothing from that sonic boom. That must have been an accident, I think.
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps.
But yes, no, you're absolutely right. He's just pumping out the hippos.
Yeah.
And there was another
Which
sonic
is-
boom that did nothing. I don't
Oh,
know if you
no.
caught that. That's 2,000 electricity so far, completely wasted from Avi. I don't know why.
That is unfortunate. But as we know, Avichai doesn't really care about electricity.
He is a bit of a Luddite. And that's the game. I mean, he
That's the
recognized it.
game. He did make a level 4. That was an Oogpister level 4.
Yeah, Upas to Great White, I think, right?
I did not catch what the other unit was, but the one level 4 was not enough. As soon as he died, Avi knew it was over.
That was his one hope. But I just don't understand. Like, they
Help me, Oogpister. You are my only hope.
they match up pretty well against the Hippoporks. Like, they have deflect, they have
do.
relatively low defense.
Yeah, and Avichai had an undisrupted economy for that entire time, so you would think that he would have been able to pump those out. So I'm a bit surprised that he didn't.
I don't know, maybe he forgot he went 4. It's just confusing. But I've got to say, that game from Avi, much, much better.
Yeah, you could really see that he'd figured a lot of his errors out, and so if he plays again soon, I think we can expect some really close games going forward.
And hopefully he will. Hopefully he'll be back for Blood, because that matchup was pretty exciting. And I think
Yes.
that last game, I think Yagami was... that last game wasn't his best work. It's not the best we've seen him ever do. There was a couple errors there. But
No.
The point is, despite some fumbles, he played well enough to make up for them, which is wild.
Yeah,
against
absolutely.
Avi.
And it's got to be said, he really was under a lot of pressure at several points during that game, and so there were some errors, but at the end of the day, when you're in such a difficult situation and you have to manage so much with all of those units in your lab and trying to attack and there's so much going on that it's really challenging to play perfectly in those scenarios, and he didn't play perfectly, but he played well enough, and that's what matters.
And that's
After that game, I'm really left wanting for more. I wish they'd kept playing, because that game was so good and
I know.
to watch. There's so much going on.
I know. I feel
And
like around game 6 or 7, they probably have been like exactly on
yeah.
par.
If they started a best of 3 with that game, that would have been fantastic. But I guess we'll have to wait till next time to see that.
Yeah, I guess so. And that's probably just one thing that I would say is we've heard from Mutt. I heard him say once that whenever he's playing Yagami, he feels like he's in a really strong position. He is winning the game, and then he gets into a fight, into an actual combat situation with Yagami, and Yagami just wins. And I feel like we saw that a bit there with Avichai, because
Yes, we did.
he was in Yagami's base. Yagami seemed dead to rights. Similar to that, I think it was the first or the second game where Avi just rocked up into Yagami's base and just pounded it for ages and ages and ages. But then Yagami just wins. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Absolutely, very, very impressive, and I think for that you can really point to Yagami's use of henchmen to support his units, and also the fact that he has a very, very strong level 3 melee, which helps a lot too.
And also to the fact that Yagami is an anime protagonist, and therefore he has to lose for a while before he can win.
Yes, that is true. He is just cosplaying as himself.
Anyway, that was a fantastic
To our
set of
own interview.
games.
Absolutely.
Hats up to Yagami for another stellar series. He's giving us such great food at the moment for casting.
Yeah, superb entertainment. Great to watch, great to cast. Hopefully, we'll continue to see more.
Absolutely. Look, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for swinging by to cast today, though.
That was my pleasure.
And we will catch you all later.